this is Chloe Jo Davis of Girly Girl Army, today here for Celebrity Catwalk with one of my favorite artists and my dear friend, Genga of Spoke Woven. Spoke Woven is...
Spoke Woven.
Don't you like that?
Oh, like you got me.
I went in.
You definitely did.
Yes.
Spoke Woven, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is a creative design, collaboration, organic thing that has grown into making beautiful wall hangings for people. And the ebb and flow in that has changed throughout the years. Now I've been doing it for almost a decade. Started with simply creating dream catchers, and now has sort of been built into lots of different sort of energizing pieces for people and their families, and is sort of just a positive experience.
It's so collaborative. So I want to start by telling my story, if that's okay with you. So I have a very stylish friend named Lisa, and she gifted me a Spoke Woven dream catcher for my birthday. And of course, I didn't know what it was. And then I clicked on the link on the Instagram, which is Spoke Woven on Instagram, and I was blown away. And I realized I had seen it, and it had been on like my wish list on my Pinterest page. My husband calls me Pinterest Penny. Hey, girl. But anyway, so I saw these dream catchers, and they're the size of this backsplash. They're made with so much love, and that's obvious. They're customized. They have beautiful jewels, and there's some of them they're all a lot of them are hand dyed. They're just so special.
Thank you.
And I started working collaboratively with Genga on our piece. And I said, I don't know, I just sort of want it to look like Stevie Nicks at a concert in the 70s. This girl took that and ran with it, and you created basically my love language in the form of a dream catcher. It is so beautiful. It's like amethyst and tie-dye, and it looks like something that might have been on Stevie's mic when she was performing, really fucked up on cocaine, you know? And it's just so beautiful. And that was it. I was hooked, and I think you'd probably do that with everybody you work with. That's my vibe.
I think that's what makes the process so special and different from just ordering something online. Or
because we know there's a million people who sell dream catchers.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's not like when you go shopping, you don't see things that speak to you.
Right.
But it's different when you can create something from scratch that has to do with the energy that you want to pull into your space or your life. And being able to communicate that to another person, it just, I feel like, energizes the piece or energizes the final product even more. And so, you know, for me, it's as experiential as it is with every single person that I work with.
Right.
Which I think also helps to
So it's like the
create
first time with each person?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Feels like the first time?
Yeah.
There we go. But I'm bummed. So tell me a little bit of your background and how we ended up here.
Okay. The first piece I actually made,
But before this, what were you doing before this?
Okay. I was working in retail.
Yeah.
I have a master's in fine arts in film production. Moved to New York City to become a director for movies, and I never did. I started working retail.
Right.
And actually really loved it. And you know, in my first job, which I held for about 10 years, when that came to an abrupt end, and my first marriage was also like sort of unraveling, I was in this like horrific dark hole. And a very close friend of mine was like, I want you to put this thing together for me. She was actually doing her first presentation for Fashion Week at Milk Studios. And so she said, you know, I want you to create this landscape for what, you know, my presentation is going to look like. And part of that, I want you to make me the largest dream catcher that you possibly can. And I said, you know what, like, F off, like I can't do this. I want to like smoke cigarettes in bed and just feel sorry for myself. But I did it. And I'm self-taught. I just sat with a circle for days, trying to figure out my own way through the process so that it would come to me organically. And it sort of spiraled from there. You know, I had a lot of help through social media, which is another thing I didn't really understand at the time.
Right.
But you know, somebody had posted a photo of a dream catcher, and I woke up one morning and had about 600 emails. So it was just like one of those things where it kind of took off.
Right.
And for better or worse, I was locked in.
Right.
And it was like all of these doors had felt closed for me at that time in my life. And then all of a sudden, this like sort of light started to come through of, hey, you know, maybe it's time to re-identify yourself as something else, like not just this retail manager or not just this person who has an MFA who never became that director. Like maybe this is actually the thing that is meant to energize your soul. Wow. And I sort of never looked back. And I've always had jobs, you know, I've always had like a day job or whatever, but I've never, they are my heart and soul. You know, I call them my guardian angels. I have created pieces for so many people and so many different occasions, sad and happy, that I feel like it's actually become a huge reason for my source of joy, you know?
Yeah. I've seen some of the pieces you've created when there's children who are, you know, dying of cancer, and you've made it their dream piece for them. And I've seen you do weddings where you have dream catchers strung up everywhere, and how phenomenally beautiful that is. And I know for sure they're pieces that do last forever. So not only are they eco-conscious in the sense of, you know, your materials used, but they're also really, no one's throwing these out. People don't throw out things that are bespoke, I find.
I mean, I hope so.
Right.
And I do, as far as the, you know, waste is concerned, I do use every piece of material. So, you know, when I buy a piece of wood to cut the hoops, every single hoop, like there is no waste. I use every single one, no
like
matter
Russian
what size.
nesting dolls?
Exactly.
Right.
Even if the hoop is broken, there are ways to fix it and whatever. And
Right.
and that also adds something special to the piece. I might be working with somebody who's looking for something a little bit different, where I'll say, hey, you know what, maybe it's that this hoop needs to have a cut in it somewhere, you know? There's always a way.
Broken but beautiful.
Exactly. I mean, you know, a lot of people when they're embarking on a new journey or starting a new chapter in their life, they don't want something perfect. And that's the other thing, is like, a lot of my pieces, like, they're missing like a symmetry, or there's something about them that is very handmade. You know, you see a knot here or there, or there is a string or whatever. But I think that that's part of the process. That's part of this like collaborative, organic experience. You don't want something to arrive to your house that looks fabricated, and that also makes it special to me, because each piece is different, because my hand touches every single piece, and I've made thousands of them at this point. You know.
Yeah.
But one interesting story, when you were talking about, you know, making the pieces for kids with cancer and what have you. The Make-A-Wish Foundation contacted me years ago and said, you know, there's a mother here who's her daughter's having, they have like a celebration when it sort of is time for when the disease has taken over, and they have this big celebration, and they're able to like choose exactly what they want to happen. And the mother really wanted a spoke woven piece there, which obviously I was happy to donate.
Yeah.
I found out as I was creating the piece that the woman was a friend of mine from college, and we didn't, we didn't know. Like, I didn't know that I was making the piece for her. She didn't know that I was spoke woven. And it was like one of those moments where it was like the universe connects you with people at the right time. It's just like us. Like, the universe connected us at the right time.
Big time.
And we've become like amazing friends. And you've opened so many doors for me. And it just, the friendships that culminate from this process is something that I will always be grateful to the universe for, you know?
And if you don't believe in God, you've got to believe in some sort of like synchronicity, because the friendships that have dropped into your lap just because of this are just beyond. I mean, I've heard some of the stories and just my experience of my own friendship with you. So now I want to take it up a notch. I want to bam it up a notch, and I want to show two of them, and I want to just hear about your sort of process, but also hear and tell the audience about the variances, because I know they're extraordinarily different.
So just to talk about a couple of things on this piece, I know we were talking a little bit about it before we started filming. This is actually the fourth piece I've made for this person, and the first piece I made
you could move out just a little.
She's a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe, and so the first piece I made for her actually has Nevermore on the inside.
Oh, wow.
This is for her guest room, and so all of the colors, including the cheetah print, is with a quilt. Like a handmade quilt that she has on the guest room bed. You know, I use the obsidian arrowheads because it's detoxifying, and it's also a stone that protects a room. So, you know, it protects from any kind of negative energy. The amethyst is for calm, restful sleep. The rose quartz is for love, and the 5-point crystal quartz is it's a stone that is a catalyst for any crystal that you put on a piece. So even if you have crystals that like sit under your windowsill, if you have a crystal quartz with those, they all become energized and they work together in a better way. So I always try to have a crystal quartz on every single piece.
Oh, interesting.
I also try to use an arrowhead on every piece, even though a lot of people don't necessarily gravitate towards an arrowhead because of the shape being so sharp. And then I'll, put it on the back side so you can't see it. I mean, that's also an option, right? It's like when you're bringing energy into a space, it doesn't necessarily all have to be visible on the front end.
Right.
Some of it can actually be invisible on the back end, which I find to be also like a nice way to bring in the creative energy that maybe you don't want everybody to see that's in your home or whatever.
Interesting. So in terms of size, so I've seen you do ones that are humongous, and I've seen tiny little baby ones. So where does this fall in terms of like your big to smalls? This is your...
I would say this is sort of, this is the most popular size.
Right.
It's sort of like a statement piece, but also not too overwhelming.
Right.
And I find it's a piece that it can bring a lot of stimulation to a space without it being the only thing in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so I know, so some of the other variances, you have words, phrases, names, heart shapes, stars, moons. Tell me more. Tell me more.
So the one thing that my retail experience has brought an opportunity is that I am able to cut wood, and so I do cut each hoop with my husband helps me.
Right.
But I do cut each hoop, so we can make sizes like stars and hearts. And,
that's amazing.
And we do, like for a lot of weddings, we do double hoops, so it looks like a infinity sign sort of with two circles. So we have a lot of ability to ebb and flow with sizing. We can basically cut anything.
And how amazing to be able to buy, custom gifts to me are everything. And the fact that this is a gift that you can truly, and you don't have to do it the way my friend Lisa did it, where she handed me the gift certificate. You could work one-on-one with Genga and say, this is my friend, she loves Courtney Love, and her favorite color is chartreuse. Yes. And you could run with that and do something unbelievable.
Absolutely.
It's custom art.
Exactly how the process usually works. Right. It's like some of the inspiration that people share with me is super abstract, which is really fun.
Right.
And sometimes the custom process takes 24 hours, and sometimes it takes 6 months. It just depends on how clear the vision is and how the person is feeling. But there's no time. There should be no time frame on a process like this. Right. Because, in my opinion, that is what the custom process is. It is whatever time you need to create a relationship with one another and create a piece that is perfect for wherever it is that you want to adorn in your space.
So tell me the weird, should we put this baby down? Because she's heavy.
She is heavy.
She's heavy, girl. Let's show a little baby. And then I have another question for you about so here's a little teeny baby. Oh, wrong way.
That's okay. This is for a little girl in Cuba.
Oh, cute. For over a crib or something?
Yeah, actually, she's 1.5, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
And
a toddler bed, maybe.
A toddler bed, maybe.
Right, if the parents are lucky.
Exactly.
Right, if they've gotten her in bed.
I'm not really there yet.
I'm not there yet either. My children are 9, 7, and 4, 5, whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
And she chose the pastel colors, and she really wanted the doily center.
The doily side.
So I find that, like especially a little girl who is super identifying with the princess.
Yes.
The princess themes.
Realms.
She's really into extra detailed sort of, fantastic inner work.
Gotcha. Okay, let's put this down. Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is the craziest custom dream catcher you've ever made? And where is the craziest dream catcher you've ever made gone to?
Okay.
Or the craziest place?
Okay. Good questions. All right. I would say the craziest piece I ever made, and I hate to call it crazy, but it was a piece
crazy cool.
This woman wrote to me from Canada.
Okay.
Her sister had just passed away from breast cancer, and she wanted to create a piece in homage to her sister. Okay. So she sent me stuff to put on the piece, and we created this piece together for close to 8 months. And it was a constant back and forth of photo sharing and let's add this foxtail here, or let's add this turquoise here. But on the left side, there was a lot of asymmetry to the piece, which is interesting to work with another person, because people see asymmetry differently. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so it went on, and when I finally shipped it to her, this was a 36-inch piece too, so it hung almost 7 feet long by the time it was finished. And it was a beast. It was a beast. It was wild, right?
Yeah.
And when she got the piece, she hung it up over her bed, and she actually couldn't sleep in her room because the amount of energy that was like pouring out of it, it was like too much for her. So she had to hang it in her hallway for almost a year.
Wow.
And I felt horrible. I felt horrible. And I was like, you know, like, should I like take a train out there? Like, maybe we could work together on it.
Right.
She's like, let me wait. Well,
stage it a little extra.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so at the end of about a year, she wrote me a really long email about how she walked in from work one day. The piece was speaking to her. She brought it into her room, and she hasn't slept better. She's never slept better since that day.
Oh, wow.
And feels protected by her sister. And I mean, it like gives me the chills to even think about it, right? And that I was connected to this woman just through making that one random piece that then generated. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that is like such a, I don't want to call it a powerful feeling, because I don't want it to feel like egotistical in any way, but it does feel very powerful, the relationship that was created.
Art is healing.
Yes.
I mean, you're an art therapist is what you are, really.
And it's accidental,
right?
You know, and that is what like makes it feel so much more impactful to me. It's like not something I studied; it's just something that happened, but that I feel so passionate about, and I have so much conviction for that I'm just, you know, again, just the gratitude that I have to the universe for bringing it to me in that like really dark time in my life. Whereas I don't know if I would have gravitated towards it if everything was going okay.
And it's so specific too.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, you really need to be a teacher. That's what you need to do. Yeah. No, it's you need to heal people by making custom work for them.
It's amazing.
Spiritual custom work.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
What are the origins, again, remind me, of dream catchers in general?
Well, I mean, they are, it's a Native American tradition. All of the tribes have different ways of creating the pieces, but what I don't know exactly what tribe does what, because I'm not connected to that in any way.
Right.
But what I do know is that it's something that is usually passed down from a family member. Like a grandmother will make the dream catcher for her whole family, and it has pieces attached to it that connect with every person and protects them like throughout their lives and hangs in their home. And so from the respect of protection, I really, and family, I really gravitate towards that like wholesome
genealogy, sort of? Right.
But
did people ever sometimes send you like a stone from a family ring or like a strip of a dress?
Many times.
That's amazing.
A woman sent me her horse's tail after her horse had, you know, passed away.
Oh boy.
And, you know, I braided the tail. The tail was like the centerpiece of the dream catcher.
Wow.
And, you know, it was wild.
That's a good segue into the fact that you made me a vegan dream catcher, because most of them do have feathers traditionally and in your work. So what Genga did for me, I mean, to me, is even more beautiful than regular feathers. What you did was you created feathers. My dream catcher was purple, my favorite color. You created feathers out of purple velvet.
Yes. Yes.
And hand-cut purple velvet, and then you went on. You're in your evolution to make more vegan dream catchers. You now make them out of like vegan leather.
Yes, and that is because of you. I mean, that is, you know, you really got me. Because it's like, that's the thing is, I've sort of stumbled along the process the whole way. It's like, I've taught myself how to make these things. I've taught myself how,
What next,
so then,
universe?
You know, we met and it was like, let's do these vegan pieces. And I was like, I don't know even what a vegan feather is. You know, it's like all figuring stuff out.
Right.
And now, you know, I make fully vegan pieces.
Yeah.
And I worked with NYU for the children's hospital, and I am working on a collaboration with them where I'm going to make all vegan pieces for their children's playroom because it needs to be washable.
Oh, wow.
And we couldn't use any fabric. So what we talked about was using a vegan leather, a vinyl, so that everything could be wiped down at the end of the day to prevent the spread of germs and what have you.
So you're one of those people that, you know, most companies will tell you outright, like, we donate 20% to this charity and to that charity. That, what I love the most about you is that you do all these things without telling anybody anything.
Yes.
You donate dream catchers to, you know, Make-A-Wish. You do things like collaborations with hospitals. Whenever I've asked Genga, and I'm working with a nonprofit, would you mind donating a piece? You have so readily and so generously given. And so that to me is just exemplary, and all businesses should run that way.
Thank you.
But it's another reason to support your business, because the more, you know, clients you have, obviously, the more you can give back. And I love that you're considering, I don't know if I'm, you know, preliminarily announcing, but you're considering doing parties or hosting custom events for people?
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that I love talking about the energy and creating pieces and changing the energy in your life through creating things. It doesn't need to be me creating everything.
No.
And it's so nice, like our meeting, like us being able to look at each other face to face and us creating this bond, this like friendship through creating these pieces. I would love to be able to do that on a larger scale.
Right.
And I think it can be through any age group. You know, talking to kids about being able to choose their own destiny, create their own energy, like bring the positivity into your life through women who are like, I'm 45. I could definitely use a Thursday evening where I'm talking to a peer group face to face, not just like putting stuff on social media about like how to bring positive energy in your life. Like, what can you do? And
that,
you know,
used to be women's work in the old days. Women's bonding and women's work was creating things, crochet, knitting circles, those kinds of things. And people, I think, in the sort of the 80s, made it like sort of an you know, a misogynistic almost thing.
Right.
But really, it's as feminist as it could be, because it allows sort of like a healing space and like a safe space to do things that are creative. I would love to like throw, you know, just a party for myself where I have like women over and we all have a glass of wine and we learn how to create, or we each create a piece.
Right. Well, because I mean, I have worked with people who are sort of like, you know what, I can't have this gigantic dream catcher in my space. Or if somebody's very sick, you know, the fabric does create dust and whatever.
Right.
So I've made smudge wands or just like energy wands, things that are smaller that somebody can keep by their bedside. Or people who are, you know, if you need to, I have a hard time meditating, right? Because my brain's always moving. I have a lot of anxiety. And so, you know, really having my hands on stuff like this really heals me. It heals me. It is my form of meditation.
It's your
like
church.
Creating. Yes.
Yes.
But some people need to have those quiet moments and are able to like turn their brain off. But being able to hold something or being able to have something that has that energy that you're looking for, like, you know, to detoxify with the obsidian, or to create that calm or that deep breath, or if there is like an asthmatic thing happening or whatever, holding that energy while you're able to meditate is really important. And so it doesn't really have to be dream catchers.
Right.
It can be on any scale, or it can look any way that you want. And so I've been trying to like sort of break those boundaries for myself too, because obviously, because I'm comfortable with this as a medium, I gravitate towards making those pieces. But I have made these other pieces and found as much joy.
Right.
And it also provides growth for me and for those people that I work with, you know?
Yes. I love that, and I love the idea of it, and I hope it grows, but I also love the fact that you're still making these custom pieces.
Yeah.
And I also love the fact that Genga has offered 20% off to viewers of this show today. So if you are watching and you'd like to order a custom piece, you go on to
www.spokewoven.com. Do you even do www anymore?
I like that you do
I think
it.
I just showed my age.
I like being old school like that. Go on.
I just went interweb.
I mean, you could have gone HTTP, so you could have been real old.
I mean, if you told me I was supposed to, I would believe you.
Right. Okay, go on.
And the discount code will be
Girly Girl Army for my website, me, GIRLIEGIRL ARMY, and take advantage of this now because you rarely offer. It's not like a, you know, Target where there's a coupon every other day. This is like a rare, custom, special opportunity, and the holidays are coming up, and because it takes a little bit of time to custom create, to me there would be no better gift in the world to wake up to another one of your. I already have 2 in my house.
Yes,
I could have had 100. I should have brought mine actually. What's wrong with me? Anyway, whatever. And I also love them as wedding gifts. I love them as bar bat mitzvah gifts. I love them as new baby gifts. Keep talking, Betty Crocker. What else? What else do we love them as?
I mean, they should just be an anytime gift, right?
They really are.
It's just whatever.
But to me, they've been like my go-to because not everybody is easy to buy gifts for.
That's true.
Especially, and because this is a New York show in New York City, because there are a lot of people who have everything.
Yes.
Or people who have very little space, and so they want their things to be meaningful.
Yes, agreed. And also not to be fearsome of the collaborative process, right? Because some people don't really want to have that communication.
Right, and you can buy them.
So there are also pieces that are
ready-made.
Ready-made. I mean, everything, they're ready-made, meaning the design is pre-prepared, but each piece is made once the order is placed.
Right.
And every once in a while, I will sort of have an inclining to just create random pieces on my own. And so I usually have an offering of one-of-a-kind pieces as well.
And that's why I watch your Instagram with a fine-tooth comb. I'm always like, what has she got going on now? Because she often makes like these unbelievable sort of inspired random custom pieces, and then you offer them just to your sometimes Instagram followers.
Yes.
So that's another reason to follow her on Instagram. You've become sort of like a social media darling on Instagram. So
thank you.
Who is somebody that's like followed you that's sort of blown your mind or retweeted you or?
I think Lou Delone, who is Charlotte Gainsbourg's sister.
Yes.
She like randomly put a message on my feed like a couple of years ago, and ever since then we like message each other once in a while and stuff. It's like really been like inspiring.
Did she get a piece?
It's in the works.
Gotcha.
It's been going on for a long time,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
There's a lot of mind changing there. So
interesting.
It's a work in progress.
Okay, gotcha.
I've made some pretty amazing pieces. Like I made a piece for Bahati Prinsloo and
Adam
Levine's daughter, Dusty Rose.
Oh, cool.
I've made a piece for Kim Kardashian's, her last baby.
Let me see. Psalm.
Yeah, I guess.
The baby song.
I like a
yes.
Yes. I've made some pretty awesome pieces, and a lot of them are actually in confidence, so I can't even, like, I sort of sign contracts about, you know, not talking about it or not posting about it.
I like to call that minding your levels.
Yeah, but it's like just for me to know is like kind of awesome.
The best.
But most recently I made a piece for Courtney Love, and that was like...
I just brought her up.
Yeah, you brought her up, and so I was thinking about it, but that was like really wild. So,
that's so cool.
And, yeah, very cool.
Well, you too could have a piece from Genga and Spoke Woven. Just head on over to spokewoven.com.